Safa saphela isizwe simnyama iwasafa
isizwe saba
yavula moya
alitshaleni inkokheli
wemaye wemodo Safa saphela isizwe simnyama iwasafa
isizwe saba
yavula moya
alitshaleni inkokheli
wemaye ngiyakhala Safa saphela isizwe simnyama iwasafa
isizwe saba
alamula
alitshaleni inkokheli
wemaye wemodo Safa saphela isizwe simnyama iwasafa
isizwe saba
yavula moya
alitshaleni inkokheli
wemaye wemodo Safa saphela isizwe simnyama iwasafa
isizwe saba
yavula moya
alitshaleni inkokheli
wemaye ngiyakhala Safa saphela isizwe simnyama iwasafa
isizwe saba
alamula
alitshaleni inkokheli
wemaye wemodo Safa saphela isizwe simnyama iwasafa
isizwe saba
yavula moya
alitshaleni inkokheli
wemaye wemodo.
On this day in 1818, December the 24th, was the composition of one of the most famous Christmas songs of all time, Silent Night, by a young Austrian priest, Joseph Boer, not long after the Napoleonic Wars has taken their toll. It was 205 years ago when Silent Night was first heard by Austrian villagers attending Christmas Eve Mass in St. Nicholas Church in Oberndorf. Silent Night is about a calm and bright silent night and the wonder of a tender and mild newborn child. Today, the 24th of December 2022 in Nigeria, how silent and calm is the night. Can we all go to bed with our two eyes closed? Where is Leah Sharibo? How much is a bag of rice? Is Nigeria at the edge of an abyss? In 1960, Nigeria became an independent state, which gave rise to the First Republic solely because the British could not continue with an expensive empire, so they gave the natives a semblance of self-government and freedom, while their multinational corporations continued to plunder the resources of Africa. The First Republic soon became history under the whims and caprices of ambitious and overzealous men in khaki. The Second Republic began in 1979, but under a superficial junta arrangement that coronated the president of the military choice. It wasn't long before the uniformed men peeled it down in their fictitious move to clean up the messy situation in Nigeria. Then the Third Republic in 1990 was a deception by the khaki men to change its uniform to an acceptable regalia of some sort, from the failed coup by Major Gideon Orka, who in April 1990 was thought to have wanted to return power to the people, to the aborted civilian transition hijacked by General Sani Abacha. It only lasted for 3 years. Then in 1999, we began the Fourth Republic, which is so far the longest. The question I would like to ask is, what has changed? Who drafted the constitution which the democracy of the Fourth Republic rely upon? Have the state actors simply won Agbada to suit the new calling? Here we are with another electoral process that will determine how the Commonwealth of the people will be judiciously managed. I hope you've gotten your PVC. Welcome. The program is The Podium, where we discuss issues of national interest and give the people a voice on your comic theme station, 32 FM 94.9. My name is Gbolabo, Famous School. We are live on Facebook and, of course, on YouTube. All right, we'll take this breather and we'll be introducing our guest to you this morning. That'll be shortly after this.
Safasa pelisizo simnyama Iwasafa
Isizwe saba
Kavula mo
Alijaleni ko kelise
Wemaye wemodo Safasa pelisizo simnyama Iwasafa
Isizwe saba
Kavula mo
Alijaleni ko kelise
Wemaye ngiyakhala Safasa pelisizo simnyama Iwasafa
Isizwe saba
Alamula
Alijaleni ko kelise
Wemaye wemodo Safa saphela isizwe simnyama Iwasafa
isizwe saba
Kavula moya
Alitshaleni inkokheli zethu
Wemaye wemodo Safa saphela isizwe simnyama Iwasafa
isizwe saba
Kavula moya
Alitshaleni inkokheli zethu
Wemaye ngiyakhala Safa saphela isizwe simnyama Iwasafa
isizwe saba
Alamula
Alitshaleni inkokheli zethu
Wemaye wemodo Safa saphela isizwe simnyama Iwasafa
isizwe saba
Kavula moya
Alitshaleni inkokheli zethu
Wemaye wemodo Safa saphela isizwe simnyama Iwasafa
isizwe saba
Kavula moya
Alitshaleni inkokheli zethu
Wemaye ngiyakhala Safa saphela isizwe simnyama Iwasafa
isizwe saba
Alamula
Alitshaleni inkokheli zethu
Wemaye wemodo
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
bí èyí tó kéré jù nínú ìran àkànbá lè dánilé tiẹ̀ kò sí ohun tó ní kẹ́dá yẹn náà má dá níbi tí ó máa pè nílé ara rẹ̀.
ẹ sì parọ́ o àmọ́ nírú àsìkò yìí ọ̀nà wo lèyìn ó gbé gbà.
torí ẹ̀ gan-an làwa sì fi mú bí ojúṣe wa láti ya bátànì ọ̀nà ìrọ̀rùn kalẹ̀ fún gbogbo ẹni bá ṣe tán láti donílé lórí níbàámu pẹ̀lú bí àpò kó wa bá ṣe rí.
ẹ dákun tá a lẹ́yìn.
àwa ni Design Bricks Homes and Property táyé ti mọ̀ bí ẹni mowó lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ilégbèé àǹfààní ìrọ̀rùn àti sọ ní donílé ara ẹni la tún gbédé fún gbogbo ẹ̀dá tí ó fẹ́ sí kọ́kọ́rọ́ kú.
ẹ já mi tán.
Design Bricks Easy Pay Housing Scheme ń lètò kíkọ́ ilégbèé ìrọ̀rùn fún gbogbo mùtúmùwà nínú àwọn ẹ́stéètì wa tó wà níbàdàn èkó abẹ́òkúta àti ìjẹ̀bú òde ẹ máa sanwó ilé ọ̀hún díẹ̀díẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ó kéré tán 200,000 naira léyìí tẹ́ ẹ lè san láàrin oṣù 6 sọ́dún 3 ni wọ́n bá kó kọ́kọ́ ilé yín léyìn lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀dínwó àrà ọ̀tọ̀ wá wà fẹ́ni tó bá sanwó ilé tiẹ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kan náà bákan náà làǹfààní tó yàtọ̀ tún wà fẹ́ni tó bá sanwó ilé tiẹ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀mejì ẹ̀mẹ́ta tàbí ẹ̀mẹ́rin láàrin ọdún kan.
wàwù a jẹ́ wípé lé kíkọ́ ti zẹ̀dọ́dọ̀ tèmi náà nu o.
láti jàǹfààní yìí ẹ tètè pé Design Bricks sórí 090-393-75110 ẹ sì lè pè 080-2542-4253.
Miss Polly has a baby who was sick. She phoned to the doctor to be quick. The doctor came running with a Rexall drop, and he knocked on the door with a rat-a-tat-tat.
Rexall paracetamol drop is good for the treatment of feverish conditions in babies. Rexall paracetamol drop has a fruity taste and it is mild on the child's digestive system.
Then the baby was happy and started to play.
Rexall paracetamol, also available as tablets and suppositories for adults and syrup for children. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor. Rexall paracetamol, another quality product from Daily Need Industries.
Oh yes, the wait is over. Midas Casino is now open for our teaming patrons and enthusiasts at number 44 Awolowo Way, Old Bodija, Ibadan. Yes, Midas Casino is a grand and classic casino for the elites to play all kinds of games and bettings like slot, virtual games, soccer balls, and casino, as well as snooker table and other side attractions, while you relax in a classy and serene atmosphere with watertight security. At Midas Casino, our customer relation is second to none. And of course, there are lots of goodies to savor like free drinks and other side attractions. Just visit and see things for yourself at Midas Casino, number 44, Awolowo Way, Old Bodija, Ibadan, and you will be wowed.
Nítorí èmi àti ẹ ní bàbá àdúrà wòlíì AK-47 ṣe wọnú àwẹ̀ 150 days látòṣù kẹjọ ọdún táwa yìí o.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni o, August 1 làwẹ̀ yẹn ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ó parí lọ́dún 26, 27 àtọ́dún 28 December ọdún yìí. Lórí òkè náà mọ̀ wọ apátẹ́rẹ́ Ìbàdàn. Ibi táwọn ti máa fún 500 ó pọ̀ ní báàgì ìrẹsì kọ̀ọ̀kan. Àtàná ìtì ọ̀ìlì kọ̀ọ̀kan fún gbogbo ẹni tó bá wà fọ́dún tuntun. Wednesday December 28 ni màmá Bọ́lá rẹ̀ àti prophet Tèmítọ́pẹ́ ẹ̀jẹ̀ Jésù máa kásẹ̀ rẹ̀ lẹ̀. Àwa máa tẹ̀síwájú. Ó dorí ilẹ̀ náà mọ̀ wọ̀ tó wà challenge Ìbàdàn. Òróró tá a gbà lórí òkè la máa gbé bọ̀ wá sí ṣòro ọlọ́jọ́ mẹ́ta tó máa wáyé mbẹ̀. A fi pàdé ọdún tuntun lọ́nà ní. Ó máa lágbára. On the 29, on the 30, àti on the 31 December ọdún yìí ni o. Ibẹ̀ ni bàbá àdúrà wòlíì AK-47 ó ti máa ka sáàmù mẹ́ta tó kù sínú òróró tí wọ́n gbé fún wa lórí òkè. Bàbá àdúrà máa gé bínú yà pẹ̀lú gbogbo wa. Lórí ilẹ̀ náà mọ̀ wọ challenge Ìbàdàn. Jésù ń retí rẹ o.
Ìyá Làbákẹ́ bó o tiẹ̀ lẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n fi ránṣẹ́ sí ọ látòkè òkun tó nílò àtúnṣe ráńpẹ́ ǹjọ́ ti ṣe.
àfi sùúrù oríborí ìyé lọ́rọ̀ àwọn tó fóònù ṣe ọ̀hún ṣe ni wọ́n tún bá mi bá yé rẹ̀ jẹ́ mo ti ẹ̀rọ ojú tó ẹ o jẹ́.
Mebí mo wí fún ọ pé kó o lọ sí Reephones pẹ́ni tó mojú ògùn láàjì ó pàbí nírè níbi tí wọ́n ti bá ọ sọ ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ rẹ dọ̀tun àwọn aláìmọ̀kan ló lọ gbé fún.
ẹ wo ọ̀nà àbáyọ ni ẹ bá ń wá ọjà ẹ.
o ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ ni Reephones ló ń wá ojútùú sí àwọn ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ tó mẹ́rì bíi phones unlocked screen problem tàbí èyíkéyìí wàhálà tó bá ń súyọ lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ rẹ. Any katakata wey dey happen to your phones na dem go suffer mo whether phones repair or any issue on your telewire make you take am go Reephones o. Kàn sí wọn ní number 35C Nipos shopping complex ládojúkọ Cocoa house tó wà nìbàdàn gẹ́lẹ́kọ̀ tó wẹnu géètì ló ti kàn wọ́n kúgú mbẹ̀ gbàrà tó bá tún wọlé tán ló ti kàn wọ́n lápá ọ̀tún rẹ̀ bó bá wá rú ọ lójú pé wọ́n sórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 0706 436 8169 tàbí 0809 695 7878 Reephones àwọn lọ̀gá.
32 FM 94.9.
When the people became silent,
the government became oppressive. It's time to lend your voice to politics.
On 32 FM 94.9.
Safa sapeli sizo simnyama. Iwa safa.
Isizo saba.
Kavula mo.
Welcome back. You're still on the podium. My name is Gbolabo, Famous School, and it's coming to you from your darling dial 32 FM 94.9 this wonderful Saturday morning, the 24th of December. And of course, we are going to be looking at the 2023 polls at the quest for credible leadership in Nigeria. Our guest this morning is Adebayo Shito, the former Minister of Communication under this government and the Director General of Asiwaju Tinubu Campaign Organization. And of course, is joining us via Zoom this morning. It's great to have you here, sir. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, my dear sister, and Nigerians generally.
It's a pleasure to have you join us on the podium this morning. All right.
You are most welcome.
Yes, let me start off this way. We would not say that your principal, talking about Asiwaju here, it's naive when it comes to politics of Nigeria. And of course, as much as we want to sound a lot careful here in terms of the choice of words or the language that we are going to be using this morning, some people have said that it is a tactless gambit coming from Asiwaju, given the fact that he said Nigerians could go ahead and protest for all they care, that subsidy will be removed. And now let's cast our minds back, as a matter of fact, to 2012, precisely when the Jonathan administration attempted to remove the subsidy. Ashwaju was one of those who said, and of course I'm going to quote this from one of the dailies that was printed online, that's PM News, and the item was published by PM News on January the 11th, 2012, where Ashwaju had relayed through a special release, which he captioned removal of oil subsidy. It said President Jonathan breaks social contracts with the people, and which he personally signed. Tinubu in the statement said to ex-President Goodluck Jonathan, the people will become enslaved to great misery. This crisis will bear his name and will be his legacy. The people now pay a steep tax for voting him into office. The removal of the subsidy is the Jonathan tax, he insisted. Now, what has changed between 2012 and 2015? And Ashwaju came around again and said to the Buhari-led government, which he campaigned vigorously for, as a matter of fact, that we cannot do without removing subsidy. What has really changed? Would we now say that the subsidy that Ashwaju was asking Buhari and stopping Jonathan from doing is a Buhari tax? And of course, he also saying that if he becomes a president in 2023, that would also be an Ashwaju tax, since he said it was a Jonathan tax for him to ask for removal of subsidy. How do we address this? Do you see it in the light of what people are saying? This is tactless gambit, so to say.
Well, a lot has changed, certainly, from that time to now. Over the years, we have preferred as a nation to hide under the pain, to say that government must pay for everything. The reality on ground with regard to the oil industry is the unfortunate situation that Nigeria has not succeeded over the years to ensure that our refineries, the 4 refineries at least, are working. And I believe this must have resulted from the level of corruption in Nigeria. The unfortunate thing again is when the Buhari administration came on board, it gave private refinery licenses to a number of, companies. Unfortunately, over the last 7 years or so, it appears it is only the Dangote refinery that has certainty of coming on board. We hope that within the next 1 year, it will come on board. When it does come on board and is able to refine Nigerian oil, it will dictate how much it is going to sell. Government will not be able to dictate. It will be like, I set up a food industry. I decide how much I'm going to pay. Mm-hmm. The problem we have as of today and over the years, we produce, oil. We bring oil. We then sell this raw oil to refining countries at a price that the refining countries determine. Even though we are the producers, we don't dictate the cost that we are going to sell. Those buying from overseas are the ones who dictate, and that is the reality. When they dictate how much they are going to buy, when they finish refining, and you can imagine the cost of transporting this crude oil overseas, we send it overseas, they buy it at their own price. When they finish refining, they also dictate how much they are going to sell to us. So Nigeria is losing on both ends.
Now because you said that, let me just chip this in. What has changed? My question is, what has really changed? Now,
that the reality is now dawning on us we cannot
the focus
continue.
is that we are looking at the Ashwaju campaign organization, and of course you're representing the organization as a director general. He said that if he's been given the opportunity, he will remove fuel subsidy. My question is, why didn't Ashwaju supported the move when Jonathan was the president as at then? What has really changed? Are we saying that the scenario you created, or you said, or you referred back to, was not the case?
You should first appreciate that I am not Asiwaju.
Obviously, you're representing your principal here.
I'm not Asiwaju. I'm not Asiwaju who saw what he saw at that time. But the reality, it must be done on all Nigerians now, not just as Waju, but the whole all Nigerians now must now be realizing that the reality is, if we do not want to continue to shoot ourselves in the leg, money that is supposed to be used to provide infrastructure, we are using it to fuel subsidy. That is the reality that is dawning on all Nigerians now. And I believe Aswaji is not the only one now talking of removing fuel subsidy. Virtually all, presidential candidates who are serious and who do not want to be seen as liars when they get to government are now saying that fuel subsidy must be removed. If Nigerians think that we should continue to deceive ourselves over the years, because my concern is today's reality, not yesterday's perspectives. My concern is today's reality. And today's reality is, if you look at the enormous cost of fuel subsidy, then you will know that Nigerians must face the reality of fuel subsidy removal so that we can have enough money to provide other vital services, particularly in the area of infrastructure, particularly in the area of educational, advancement, particularly in the areas of providing jobs and a
So
whole lot
would we
of
now
other
say that if your principal becomes the president of Nigeria, this will be his tax? Because it said as at 20...
You have to listen to what he has said.
Oh, okay.
You have to listen to what he has said. What he has said is a reality that he's telling Nigerians.
And what is that thing? I'm actually referring you back to 2012, saying that removal of subsidy will become the tax of the Jonathan government. Now, if he decides to also do that, wouldn't that also approximately mean that that's his tax? That's what he's going to be getting as tax?
He's one person at his level now. He doesn't have to tell lies to Nigerians. I mean, telling lies will mean desperation to just get into office, only to meet, a problem when he gets there, and then he becomes a liar. Whatever he says now, take him for his words.
All right, because you said that, let me just play this student loan. And of course, he appears to have also... I just want you to take a listen to this.
Our program, 4 years will be 4 years. You will not extend before 4 years to graduate a university. By the time, on your 4th year, you will be taken through that critical part. He said he wants to address the Nigerian youth. I'm now replying the president, said Lord Jonathan. He said he will address the 10 billion jobs. How? Since 6 years. If you have not been able to create that job, you assemble our youths into the state.
A discussion on the need for clear roadmap for education. There is. After we put this roadmap together and we look at it, then we will establish student loan. 4 years course must be 4 years course. The variables, we take care of the variables. Interest rate, when does it start? When do you start to pay? When do you start to be employed? What aspect of it is to be written off during NYC? Or when does it...
So you heard that quite well, sir. Looking at the first audio, the insert said, they say he called good luck Jonathan safe luck, so to say. And now he talked about the student loan as far back as 2014-2015 campaign for the Buhari government that was actually trying to come into power. And now we've gone through almost 8 years now, and it's still part of the campaign of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Are we going to say that he never envisioned, as a matter of fact, or he cannot take responsibility for those comments he made because they are the same line of thoughts? he expressed in 2014, 2015, and same line of thought in 2022, meaning that there is a failure in the system already. Would we say categorically that the APC government has failed? And how much more can you scale through as a Director General of his campaign organization when we have the same line of thoughts?
You must understand that political parties are platforms for individuals, members to aspire and to use as ladder to get to government. Even though the current government is an APC government, because the head of that government and the members of that government are APC members, but that the government is not an Asiwaju government. It is a Buhari government.
How do we measure that? How do we measure that? He said he would actually continue from where Buhari stopped.
He will continue to improve on it, of course.
How? When we still have the same line of thoughts? Because
he said, look, if he gives a commitment as Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as for the presidency, you know that he's telling you what he will do as the head of that government. That is the fact of it. He is saying, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not the only, APC person who campaigned for the Buhari administration to come into force. But he certainly was not the one calling the shots. Now he wants to come and call the shots, and he's giving a commitment in his own name.
Is there an admittance of failure then? Is there an admittance of failure? Then if that is an admittance, then why say he will continue with this policy?
Look, is it the policies of Buhari, are they only on education or on... is a whole gamut. He has given his own manifesto now. You would agree with me also that the renewed hope manifesto which he gave is certainly not the same as the Buhari manifesto. So what you need to do is to look at his own manifesto and hold him to it. It's as simple. Hundreds of people will come on the platform of a political party and perhaps will do things differently. But what is important is Asiwaju is coming in as Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he has issued a manifesto over which it can be held. For instance, this issue of students' loan is so dear to him. This issue, he has also given a commitment that once he comes in, the question of, ASU going on strike will no more exist. That's the commitment that he would address in a special way. The issues which lead to ASU going on strike every now and then. So you hold on to his own promise.
What is the trust level with all of this? Because if an Asiwaju had painstakingly campaigned vigorously for the government of the APC, still the APC platform, he's also wanting to become. Now, yes, under the platform of the APC. Now, isn't it a faulty structure to say that he's also going to still campaign on this structure that is
I have said you have to distinguish.
How do we distinguish? So
you
are
distinguish
saying
by the fact that he has
Buhari
a
is worse.
Hope. Okay. You would distinguish by the fact that he has a renewed hope manifesto, which is his own manifesto.
Not the political party manifesto, not with the ideals of the political party.
Political parties, but look, let me tell you, you will have one political party. In different states, they will be doing different things. That's the reality on ground. People come in, every head of a government, has his own perspective of what is most important to him. So the fact that they came on the same political platform, will really show you that political parties are really platforms on which people can aspire to come into government.
So there's no ideology. Are you saying, as a matter of fact, there's no ideology of the APC? APC does not have an ideology. Is that what you're saying?
Let me tell you the truth if you want to listen to the truth. In Nigeria, No political party really has an ideology.
So where's
In
the change? Where's the change? The APC
the
said...
change is, I mean, if you have not seen the change in the fact that for instance, I take you on the issue of infrastructure development. The last budget of the PDP government in 2014-2015 on federal roads was 195 billion, no, was 19 billion naira. 19 billion naira on roads, federal roads. All of this, not a couple of it was spent on any federal road by the PDP. They simply put the money on the table and shared it. When Buhari came, I happened to be part of that government. In the first year, as opposed to 19 billion, we spent 265 billion naira on federal roads. And that was why we were able to resuscitate works on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, on the Ibadan, on the Oyo Ogbomoso road, and on all roads, federal roads, in all geographical zones. You can check the records. I mean, that's certainly a clear change.
Was it the way the APC government met Nigeria? As at the time, because you talked about the other government being corrupt.
Have you seen evidence of corruption in the Buhari administration?
You were saying there is no corruption.
I don't know what you mean.
You're saying there's no corruption in this administration. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, if you have evidence of corruption, you simply will go to EFCC or to ICPC.
But there have been instances of cabinet members. Babacha Lawa, can you hear me?
Yes.
Babacha Lawa was one of those who was fingered in terms of corruption here under this government.
Is it not under prosecution now?
Obviously. So now that's my question. Are you saying that this government is immune of corruption? Then why is it that the government is saying that it's going to fight corruption?
What you should be asking is whether this government has been taking serious action against corrupt individuals.
What are these serious actions? What are these serious actions that we've seen so far in this government against corruption?
Secretary to the government was suspected of corruption and was prosecuted and is still being prosecuted. Is that not enough sign of serious action? I suppose you have always been in Nigeria and you should have all these facts.
Definitely, I have all the facts. I'm just listening to you and I want to get the facts from you.
I'm surprised that you are asking whether there has been serious action against corrupt elements or not. So many past governors are being prosecuted by this government. Did it never happen in the past? I mean, these are clear evidences that this government has a different, approach against corruption.
All right, if you say that, let's look at Dariye, for instance. We do heard that while Dariye, under this Buhari government, while he was in prison, he was still getting some emoluments. While the Saraki Senate lasted.
From the federal government? Under
this government. Are we going to separate this government?
From the federal government?
Is it different? Is the government different? Under the Buhari government.
From who was he getting the emolument?
Are we going to say that the Buhari government is not part of the judiciary, is not part of the legislature, is not part of every branch?
I'm getting disappointment if you don't know that there's division.
What is the division here? I was saying he's not aware.
Are you saying the judiciary is part of the Buhari government, the APC government of Buhari?
You are saying he's not part of it. No, I want to get it clear. Is there a difference?
I've been a lawyer for more than 42 years, and so I know that there's division. There's a separation of powers. The judiciary is not part of the political government of APC. So whatever
we are talking about corruption. Let's not mix it up. Look. Independence of the judiciary is something that the democratic system of government allows, and of course, make sure that it exists. But my question is that when you're fighting corruption, you're talking about zero tolerance to corruption. Now, are you saying it's not going to affect every facet of the sectoral development in Nigeria? Are you saying the judiciary will be responsible for the corruption that happens in the judiciary without the government of Buhari having interest in it?
Look, if you have any evidence of corruption in the judiciary, please bring it out. And let's see whether
we are talking about the Dariye case. You took me down.
Dariye was prosecuted and was in prison, and you are telling me that he was receiving some emoluments from who? Please answer that question.
Under the National Assembly of Saraki, under the same government. Are we saying there's separation here? That's my question.
Honestly, I don't know what to say to your questions, because I do not want to disrespect you, but I expect that if anybody does not know that even the National Assembly cannot be controlled by the political arm of the government, then I'll be surprised if you don't understand.
No, it's actually, you're making it very technical. But
if Saraki was paying monies unlawfully to a prisoner who was a senator, you think that fault should be that of Buhari?
And so where is the fight against corruption then?
Look, I don't think you are getting things right. I'm sorry to say this. I'm not saying, I mean, we should...
let me ask you, because you said that. Is the EFCC an EFCC of just Buhari and not the EFCC of every sector in Nigeria? What is really the separation here? I don't understand. Okay.
I'm also now reversing role. If you have any evidence of any corruption, as a patriotic Nigerian, you go and report to EFCC or ICPC.
All right.
If even politicians...
So I would want you to hold your thoughts on that. We'll still come back to this issue of corruption.
You have not asked any question, with due respect. That is not a question to be asked.
All right,
if you have any evidence of corruption, you simply, as a patriotic Nigeria, do the needful.
All right.
Of bringing that.
I would have to have you hold your thoughts. We have to go on this commercial break. We'll be back shortly.
I'll be waiting.
Stay tuned to 32 FM 94.9.
Ilé-iṣẹ́ kan ń bẹ ara. Wọ́n jọ rìn mọ́rin pẹ̀lú òye tó péye. Wọ́n fi ń ṣiṣẹ́ wọn. INT'L Steel and Construction Company. Kò sí irú kan láwùjọ òkúta.
INT'L Steel and Construction Company. Ilé-iṣẹ́ ajórimọ́ni tó bá jẹ́ ká jórimọ́ni ká finú ṣẹ̀dá àwọn èlò tó péye tó dùn bójú wò. INT'L Steel and Construction Company. Lágbádé fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin sànmọ́rí, ẹ̀yin agbaṣẹ́ṣe àtẹ̀yẹ lára tó tà. Tẹ́ ẹ bá fi àga onírin tí kì í tẹ̀ wọ̀rọ̀kọ̀, ilẹ̀kùn onírin àti ojú fèrèsé típa olè òní ká, òrùlé onírin, ayọ̀nrù tó dáa tó lálòpẹ́ pẹ̀lú àwọn oníṣẹ́ irin míì. INT'L Steel and Construction Company ló lè bá yín ṣe. Iṣẹ́ wọn dáa, ó tún dáa ju tòkè òkun lọ. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ló sì rọ́jú. Building contractor ni wọ́n. Ìbẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run ni wọ́n fi ń ṣiṣẹ́ wọn. Àǹfààní wà fáwọn tó bá fẹ́ kọ́ nípa iṣẹ́ yìí. Wọ́n wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ rélùwé láàrin 2 kìlómítà 110 àti ìyànàjà Alẹ́ṣinlọ́yẹ̀ Ìbàdàn. Ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wọn ni 0805 701 3619 àti 0703 940 0431.
INT'L Steel and Construction Company. Kò sí irú kan láwùjọ òkúta.
Crossover sí 2023 òróró títayọ lọ́lọ́run Sáàmù Olúwa ló máa dà lé ọ lórí.
Orílẹ̀ tí Jésù ti jí sí àmì àti ìyanu ojúkorojú yẹn. Adámímọ́gò Jesus City la máa gbàrí kọjá sí 2023. Nínú ìpàdé májẹ̀mú ọlọ́jọ́ mẹ́ta àgbáyípo láti Friday 30 December di Sunday 1st January 2023. Bàbá Adámímọ́gò Prophet Sáàmù Olúwa lọ. Ọlọ́run ti sọ fún bàbá láti dá òróró ojú rẹ̀ lé gbogbo èèyàn lórí. Anointing for excellence. Ọlọ́run sọ pé gbogbo ẹni máa farahàn. Òun máa bá wọn dá májẹ̀mú títayọ fún ìrìn àjò 2023 o. Ọ̀pọ̀ wòlíì májẹ̀mú Jésù máa lò. Bísí aláwìyé àlùkò. Olúwa ló ní Bísí. Àwọn ló máa léwájú olórin ẹ̀mí. Prophet Sáàmù Olúwa lọ bàbá Adámímọ́gò. Wọ́n á máa dòróró títayọ lé gbogbo èèyàn lórí. Ààyè wọn náà wọ́n kánsẹ́lì tó máa wà. Wákàtí nínú àdúrà máa jọ. CSC Adámímọ́gò Jesus City. Ìbàjúlẹ̀ kí ẹ̀pẹ́ expressway. Ìlàmìjà village Aláró City la ó ti pàdé.
ǹlẹ́ o alábàágbé mi mo ní kí n wá bẹ̀yìn wò ni. ìyá Bíọ́lá àlàáfíà la wà. ẹ ṣeun. mo kọ yín kọ wọ́n wà. ẹ̀yin náà ńkọ́. kódà ìyá mi lábúlé gan wà lálàáfíà. ìyá Bíọ́lá ṣé kò sí. mẹ́wòó ìtasọ́sọ́ jọ̀lọ́ fún yín ò jẹ́ rí mú mi o ni mo bá ní wá fọwọ́ ara mi tún ara mi ṣe.
ẹ wọlé wá jẹ́wọ́ jàre.
àgbéyẹ̀fun ìsẹ̀bẹ̀ ọ̀ngá jọ̀lọ́ọ̀fù tuntun dé o. ohun ìsẹ̀bẹ̀ tó ń fúnrẹ́sì jọ̀lọ́ọ̀fù yín lójúlówó adùn àti ìtasọ́sọ́ jọ̀lọ́ọ̀fù tí ò ṣeé kọ̀ sílẹ̀.
Onga, Mama's helping hand.
bá a ṣe láwọn akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ dókítà tíṣẹ́yé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà la láwọn àwòrán àṣà mẹkáníìkì GMF Auto Services Limited. bóyá ẹ̀ tí ìdébẹ̀ wò ní ọ̀jẹ̀ ẹ̀mọ̀ pọ́nmọ́nàmọ́pa àwọn erin lákàtàbù irinṣẹ́ ni ó diagnose mọ́tò yín kẹ́sẹ́ bí wọ́n ti máa fẹnu fapò sórí carburetor wait and get ni kò ní lọ kábọ̀ tí machine bá ti ń discover problem láàmú fix ẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ kan torí gbogbo original spare part ń bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ̀ bíbá àwọn aláràlù àtàwọn aláràtúntà gan tó wá ń kó lọ́pọ̀ yanturu ṣe rí i pé gbogbo ń tẹ́ fẹ́ lójú kan ló wà.
Yes, so our services, the consultancy, diagnosis, key programming, transmission repair, maintenance, spare part sales, plus plenty odonge things. GMF Auto Services Limited. Pay for number 3, Oni Lane, beside White House Hotel, behind Boys High School, Labawo, Ogunpa, Ibadan.
ẹ kọ́ pé wọ́n lórí aago náà kẹ́ ẹ mọ bó ṣe wà sí 08066348917 08066348917 tó o bá fẹ́ kẹ́mi ọkọ̀ rí ogun GMF ni ó yàn láàyò.
Just because you do not take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you.
The funds spent were properly spent because we got them from intervention funds.
Only you waka come. There is God.
I don't know which party my wife belongs to, but she belongs to my kitchen and my living room and the other room.
Stay in tune with politics on 32 FM 94.9.
All right, you're welcome back. You're still on to 32 FM 94.9. The program is The Podium. You can join our social media on Facebook and YouTube, 32 FM 949 Ibadan. So you could also be part of this. And we still have Adeba Shitu as our guest on the program this morning, the Director General of the Asiwaju Tinubu Campaign Organization. And of course, we have our panelists too in the studio. We have Barrister Yomi joining us on the platform. Good morning, Sir Ogunlola. And of course, Professor Ayede too is here. Good morning. And yes, sir, we are back. We are back. And of course, I will still take you up on the corruption. And of course, I had to also read out this. Now, Serap had taken Saraki to court then, as a matter of fact, asking the National Assembly, asking the courts to declare that they don't have the right, the National Assembly doesn't have the right to keep paying a Dariye that was convicted for 10-year jail term. While he was in prison, he's still getting some of his allowances. And now Saraki said that he cannot stop this unilaterally, the payments to salaries and allowances to Senator Dariye under this Buhari government that says, as a matter of fact, that its mantra is zero tolerance to corruption. Now, as a legal practitioner, like you said, as a lawyer, is it tenable to say that the president will close his eyes to excesses of the judiciary and of the legislature? I was saying the powers of the legislatures are absolute, that it cannot be checked. Where are the principles of checks and balances? As a matter of fact, I was saying that whatever the judiciary does, the judiciary can go away with it. Whatever the legislature does, they can actually go away with it without any checks. Is that what you're saying here? And now, what's the essence of saying holistic fight against corruption, if that is the case?
I can't hear him speaking.
You have to open the box.
Answer the question yourself. The which court would the executive take the National Assembly to for purpose of punishing them? There's separation of powers. I've said it countless times. The judiciary is independent of the executive. The executive is independent. In fact, the judiciary, the executive is susceptible to the orders of both the National Assembly and the judiciary. The executive does not have a court by itself. There was no way that because of the independence of the National Assembly, there was no way that the executive would call them to order. And I'm repeating this on national radio.
So what is the principle of checks and balances? Where does it come in
The
here?
principle is that there's inter-independence among them, among the three arms. They call them the three arms. As a matter of fact, if one must be superior, it will be the National Assembly, which, for instance, can remove the executive. The executive cannot remove members of the National Assembly. It is only the court, and there are even limitations to that. So if the head of the National Assembly decides to do something which we consider wrong, what in law is available for the executive to do? Would he send policemen to arrest them, or would he send thugs? So you must understand, in this kind of interview, you yourself, the interviewer, must understand the limitations of each arm of the government.
I do understand.
And it was very
quite
good.
well. But then this is your posture. Okay, please go ahead.
Look, I don't want to believe that there is vested interest in any of these questions.
Not at all.
I am too old in this job of interviewing to be railroaded, please, madam.
Okay, let's move on.
Look, somebody has done something. The ASU or whatever took the National Assembly to court. What did the court do? So is it for the executive to be dictating to the courts as to what they should do? No.
Okay. Let's move on. I want to take you up on the statement of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu after the Chatham House meeting. And now, as we saw that after that meeting, he had another briefing with some individuals, of course, Nigerians. And there he was seen in a viral video where he categorically said that grab and, of course, run away with power. And many people interpreted it to mean it's a do-or-die election. But from your own
perspective... Yes.
That's the perspective out there, that this is becoming...
It can be a do-or-die. Okay. In politics, there are, in Yoruba, they will say, I suggest some kind of funny comments. If anybody contests the election and loses, can he put himself in power? I mean, it's a simple answer to that. It's simply not. If INEC does not proclaim you as having won, the best you can do is to go to court. The court will have the final say on it. So if somebody says he will catch power, he will run away with it, run to where? I mean, those are not statements that anybody can get intimidated about.
Mr. Shito, we have our panelists in the studios, so they would also want to ask you some few questions.
I'm happy. I welcome the panel.
All right. Professor.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because we were talking about the principle of checks and balances, and we are talking about being propriety, for instance, in the National Assembly. And I was asking, what's the role of the Attorney General in this situation? Why has nothing happened from that office?
You see, I've said it again, there's separation of powers. The Attorney General has no rule, no power over the National Assembly. That is the bitter truth, my brother.
No, the Attorney General does not deal directly with anybody. He's supposed to prosecute on behalf of the government.
It doesn't work out like that, my brother. With regard to the National Assembly, if there are crimes committed on individual basis, but Attorney General, if he must take the National Assembly to court, it must be on the basis of policies which, the Attorney General will go for a redemption to the court. The Attorney General cannot say because the National Assembly, it is the National Assembly that does the budget, remember. When they do their budget, even if the executive is not happy, there's no way to check. That's the reality. If you go to court, the court will just tell you that The National Assembly is independent of the executive. They decide their own budget, they decide their own spendings and all of that. In any case, if anybody feels strongly that the Attorney General ought to do something and he refuses to do, the individual Nigeria can also initiate action in court against the National Assembly.
And that has happened recently with the decision of the appeal court.
Yes. What did the appeal court say?
The appeal court said those allowances and gratuities are unconstitutional. They are illegal. They are in fact immoral.
Well, they may be immoral. I myself believe some of them are immoral. But the truth is, if the National Assembly, if the court takes such a decision, it must also give orders as to what to do, as to restitution and all of that.
Yes.
You see, so it is not only the Attorney General that has power to initiate action. Any concerned Nigerian can also, in the absence of an Attorney General taking action, remember also that the Attorney General will take action only where it is convinced that it needs to take action. If it refuses, anybody who is convinced that the Attorney General ought to take action, which he has not taken, anybody can go to court also. The court is open to everybody.
Yeah, but that's if Nigerians are the one going to court to raise some of these issues, it shows very clearly that the Buhari administration is not as committed to corruption, anti-corruption as it claims. And that's a source of worry.
I don't know which government has done much more against corruption than this Buhari government. I don't know. If anybody has answers to what my question, please, they should come out with facts.
All right, we have Barrister Gbolabo here too.
Leonard Senior, it's so wonderful to have you on the podium.
It's my pleasure.
My name is Yomi Ogumlola.
Yomi, how are you?
Wonderful, sir. Now, I'm going to take you up on quite a number of issues, but let me start.
You are most welcome.
Let me start this way. The Bayoshitu that I know is a left-wing politician. We know your antecedents.
Probably previously.
That's where I'm going.
I'm very consistent. My friend, I'm very consistent, Professor. Except if you have any personal thing that you can have as evidence against me.
Anyway, let me go through my question.
Yeah,
so I have always known you to be a left-wing politician, and many of us were not surprised when we found you in CPC. Well, the coalition has brought all of you together into APC. I want to ask your view on democracy today in Nigeria. How do you assess this democracy today in Nigeria?
Well, democracy, I always say, the English people say people deserve the leadership that they get.
Okay.
That is one, because, from my personal experiences, nobody, even the most righteous person, would agree that Nigeria has not gotten it right. And it is not about government.
Network.
Nigeria, democracy is said to be governed by the people, for the people, over the people, and so on.
Is the network here?
Every now and then to choose leaders. The process of choosing leaders, we all know. Nobody really has, the power.
I guess we are having some network
control over it, to people who vote as well. Yeah, network problems. So we are just still evolving as a nation of Democrats. We are just still evolving, and it is my prayer that in our lifetime we will get there. But I always say this: because of the level of poverty, because of the level of ignorance, because of the level of corruption. Look, for instance, we call something Nigerian factor. I have always defined Nigerian factor as the factor of corruption, the factor of imposition, the factor of, cutting corners, and so on and so forth. And it is so pervasive all over. And it is not possible for anybody in one fell swoop to end all of this. It takes time, and it takes right leadership to provide exemplary leadership, so that over time people would, begin to imitate. Of course, the issue of enforcement is also there. Leaders who are conscientious must do the best to enforce standards, to enforce morality, and all of that. But take for instance, in many of the Arab countries where there's no democracy, there's greater development, there's better development, there's more discipline, and there's more progress. But because we choose in Nigeria to adopt the Westminster style of democracy, all that goes with it, we have to contend with it until maybe God's own time.
Okay.
So for me, we are still
Okay, I am still on that question because just as I said, Bayo Shitu, my big brother, is a left-wing politician and he is somebody that I have followed over the years. Now, I want to ask you this question. You are the director of the
Director General of Ashiwaju Campaign Organization.
Ashiwaju Campaign Organization. Now, considering your background, your level of morality, and your ethical standards, are you marketing Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, despite all the baggages that he appears to be carrying, because you are a member of APC or because of your personal convictions?
Let me tell you, and I'm saying this with all due respect to Tinubu, I respect him. In politics, I've never been a Tinubu follower in politics. Originally, I was in PDP. Later, I became CPC. And when the merger came, I became APC. But when this upcoming presidential election was coming and people started, coming up to contest, I put myself in the position of a co-owner of a company which is about to recruit managers of the company who would be able to ensure that company gets to a stage of profitability. And I looked at all the aspirants then to see who would best fit my perspective of a good manager. And simply, it was not difficult for me to conclude that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the best of all. If I had gotten a better candidate, of course, I would have followed a better candidate.
So, in other words, it is out of choice or no choice that you are marketing Tinubu. It's not because you actually believe in his capacity as an individual.
I have said it. I've said it decidedly. I've chosen my words.
Yeah, because a moment ago you were saying that it's not the political party, it's the candidate. Now you say you are giving an analogy of a company. The company, of course, is the party, isn't it?
The company is Nigeria. Nigeria, in the choice of a president, we are saying we are choosing the best managing directors that will be available to run the Nigerian business. And simply there was no, of all of the aspirants, he was the only one who had achievements that one could be proud of in governance.
Okay, Lanet Senior, let me come in again. You are a very, very honest man. I know you because I have had experiences with you. A man of integrity, a man of very, very high ethical standards. I want to ask you another question.
Yes.
Since 1999 to date,
Yes.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu has superintended over the politics of Lagos. He still decides who gets what, when, where, and how. Now,
Yes.
I want to ask you, is this your idea of a flourishing democracy?
Well, you see, I do not have all the relevant answers for the politics of Lagos over the years as you try to detail it. But I've told you what led to my choice. And that is perhaps what is relevant now, is the fact that we need to get a managing director for the Nigerian project. And of the available candidates, one must choose one. But Ahmed Tinubu may not be perfect. I don't know who is perfect in Nigeria. I don't know who is perfect, whether in politics or in lecturing, as my professor is, or in even law, which binds you and I together. But of the choices available, Bola Ahmed Tinubu stands very tall. We are talking of looking for what in Nigeria. We are talking of improving on governance in Nigeria. We are talking of having somebody who will be able to solve governmental problems and societal problems. And we have only limited choices. So what do I do? Do I say because I don't have anybody better than Tinubu, so I will not continue to participate in politics?
All right, sir. Let me just come in here. There is this issue of morality compass. And of course, I want to take you down to some of the things that David Udain, that's an investigative journalist, came up with in his findings. So although Tinubu said it's just an obsession coming from Udain here, but the fact remains that he came up with receipts and documents analyzing that your principal, which you're campaigning for and wishing he becomes the president of the country, has some tainted status when it comes to drug ring. And now he's been linked to a particular drug lords in Chicago several years back. And now, are you not concerned about some of this status or some of this tainted image that this particular investigative journalist has been able to bring to the fore? And it's been there. And over time, David has been inviting a Keyamo who appears to be the spokesperson for the PCC of the APC to actually come out to engage on these particular issues and investigations and documents. Now, you're also more or less campaigning for him. Are you not concerned about this development?
No, I am not concerned. Number one, I don't know the report of the so-called Odedi.
He's in the public space.
Number two, let me come up. Let me tell my learned colleague there knows that it is prosecution to the level of committal that is irrelevant in public affairs, particularly at the governmental level. And it is often said it is better for 100 criminals to escape punishment than for one innocent person to be punished without any crime being committed. As lawyers, we do rely. Anybody who would ask me not to support Tinubu would show me a judgment of a court which says he is found guilty of this and of that and of that. Apart from that, as well as you also know, even the Constitution, any committal, that is, if there was, I'm sure there is none against Tinubu. Nobody has come to show us any judgment which finds Tinubu guilty of either drug or money laundering or any other crime. As a lawyer, it is not my business of side talks. It is not my business of all kinds of shenanigans which goes on. When I see a judgment of a court which commits him, then I'll think otherwise.
Now,
that is done.
Now,
even for crimes, the Constitution itself says there are a number of crimes. For it to disqualify you from political participation, it must have been done within the last 10 years.
Yeah, Honorable Lanet Senior, I want to take you up from where you have just stopped. Recently, there was a judgment of a federal high court in Abuja against Dr. Doyin Okukwe. And one of the charges for which he was convicted was that he withdrew over 5 million naira as against the extant laws of the state. It's a strict liability offense for which he was held liable. Some time ago, 2 bullion vans were seen entering into Tinubu's Bodilon house, and obviously containing money. That money could not have come from a farm, but from the bank. Is Tinubu not answering for those charges not because he is one of those bigger than the law in Nigeria, rather than, the application of the strict rule of law?
My learned friend, you are aware that there could be individual prosecution if you have evidence. If the state refuses to prosecute, individuals like you can, initiate prosecution in accordance with the law, either through, procuring a fiat or doing some other things.
Okay, let me ask you, sir. Is it right for an individual to get that much money in a bullion van?
How much was the money there? I think I should ask you because
a bullion
but
van.
I know when you talk of a bullion van,
yes.
2 bullion vans.
2 bullion vans for that matter.
In actual fact, very well, bullion vans are not government properties. It is individual company, private companies who buy bullion vans. You know that?
And they are used to carry money now.
They are not used to.
It doesn't matter.
They are not used for parade.
Money was being carried. And now, from which banks was the bullion van coming? And whose money was involved?
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself
admitted. Let us continue to think as lawyers.
No, Asiwaju Tinubu himself admitted that the money was his money and not anybody's business.
Let me recall the time of MK Abiola, when people were complaining that it was money, he had too money, blah, blah, blah. What did he say? He said sarcastically. He said, only anywhere person could operate. You remember? You see, we lawyers deal with evidence. The mere fact that people saw bullion vans, I don't know. I don't know the contents of it. I don't know who it is.
But what is manifest? Does what is manifest need further proof?
Property.
Does what is manifest need further proof?
Well, you go and tell the court that.
Honorable, your portrayal of democracy seems to be very pessimistic in terms of the development.
Honestly, we must face serious issues. Honestly, we must face serious issues. The issues of poverty.
That's actually where I'm going. It's the issue of poverty that I'm going to address now. Because you were talking about our democracy with a lot of pessimism. Because you said with the level of poverty, it's difficult.
All respectable. In any case, people have choices. We have more than 4 presidential candidates. And I will continue to remain myself. If you call me,
that's okay. That's okay. Well, I was coming back to the issue of democracy and poverty. And you, in trying to assess the democracy, admitted that the future is very bleak because of the levels of poverty. And what is particularly very worrisome to me is the level of responsibility, the ability to take responsibility for what has happened. On the one hand, you say you are co-owner of Nigeria, you want a good set of managers for Nigeria. On the other hand, you say managers don't belong to political parties. They carry their own manifesto. The parties carry a different manifesto.
I didn't say they don't belong to political parties, but I said political parties are mere platforms.
Yes, they are just platforms, but they can't become president without a political party. And we always and it is because you're a member of that political party, even though you have talked about the political party not being the company. You are a member of the APC, And under the APC, Asiwaju was regarded as the national leader. To that extent, the APC government is not a government for which Asiwaju cannot take responsibility. But more importantly, in 2018, this government reached a record of Nigeria being the country with the largest number of poor people in the world. In other words, under this government, poverty has increased phenomenally.
The Nigerian population is 200 million, not 5 million.
No, Nigerian population is not as much as that of India, but the number of poor people in Nigeria has risen above that of India.
Did we start at the same time? And did we have the same mannerisms, tribal, problems?
Of course, India's situation was worse, and they've been able to come out of it. That's what we are saying. So instead of us improving, we are getting worse under this government.
What role would you play? What role would each of us have to play? Because we all have responsibility.
So why do we have government? Why do they make policy? Why do we have political party? Why do they have manifestos? Why do we have an all-progressive party and it's not committed to poverty eradication?
Look, there are, my brother, Professor, I know you continue to prophesy. Because you're a professor. But the reality on ground is that Nigerians have options. That is the truth of it.
All right.
My own option, when I was deciding on the
Shitu, we have to pay some bills. I'm sorry to cut you short. We'll pay some bills. I'll be right back.
I have another Zoom meeting waiting for me. No problem. I'll wait.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Hey, neighbor, I said let me come and check to see if all of you are fine.
Mama Didi, we're doing great. Thank you.
Your husband?
Oh, he's fine.
And you?
Mama Didi, plus my grandfather in the village were fine. What is it?
My dear, the aroma of this jollof rice has been knocking on my door since. I just had
come and eat job.
Introducing the new Onga Jollof Seasoning Powder. It's the new jollof taste maker, made to give your jollof rice that rich jollof taste and aroma that's really hard to resist.
Onga, Mama's helping hand.
The Gospel Music Request Show.
Turn it up!
Baby, what?
I still believe in God, oh, even the devil knows that I'm true.
Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he has done great things, as we have overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the words of our testimony. Join the Gospel Music Request Show as we testify and praise God in beautiful songs every Sunday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. on your laughter station, 32 FM 94.9. Don't miss it. The Gospel Music Request Show.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Just because you do not take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you.
The funds spent were properly spent because we got them from intervention funds.
Only you waka come. There is God.
I don't know which party my wife belongs to, but she belongs to my kitchen and my living room and the other room.
Stay in tune with politics on 32 FM 94.9.
You're welcome back. You're still on to the podium on 32 FM 94.9. And of course, it's a few minutes past 10. 23 minutes past 10 already, and we still have our panelists, and of course our guest is Mr. Shitu Adebayo Shitu, the Director General of the Asiwaju Campaign Organization. Yes, Barrister Yomi, you wanted to ask a question?
Yes. Lawrence Senior, I am going to take up the question that Prof was trying to ask you. I will put it in another perspective.
In a legal language.
Yes, I heard your response earlier to the question on Bola Tinubu's promises with respect to the removal of subsidy. And it appears to me now that your party's ignorance of the facts really exacerbated Nigeria's problems. But now, you are saying that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a manifesto distinct from the party. In other words, you are trying to isolate Bola Ahmed Tinubu from the present administration and from the party. Are we not paving the way for a dictatorial government?
Yeah, thank you for the question. The truth, if I must say, I'm actively involved in politics. I'm not just a theorist. And I do know, by virtue of that fact, that even as the so-called national leader is just a honorific term, if you must understand. I mean, who is more of the leader than the president? I mean, it is the president who, in actual fact, is a leader of the party. But in order to honor Tinubu for his support for Buhari when the times at the appropriate time, he was given the title of national leader. That is one. Number two, even as national leader, can somebody who is not in government dictate to a sitting government? The answer is simply no. There was no way. So it is the person in charge who takes responsibility. That is the truth, if you want to hear the truth. Now Tinubu is coming on board by the grace of God to make his own promises, and he has made the promises, particularly through his manifesto. If it was as simple as APC manifesto, why the need for a new manifesto by Tinubu, who is trying to campaign on the basis of his beliefs for Nigeria? So the truth is, if there was no need for some kind of individual perspective, there wouldn't have been need for any new manifesto. You simply would have had just one all-time, manifesto which everybody has to, go to. The fact that even when a political party has a manifesto, or Tinubu has, it's not necessarily. It was not the party who worked on that manifesto. It was not at the party headquarters. It was in Tinubu's office. He was the one who put up a team and told them what to, to write and articulate and all of that. So I am assuring you, just like in the various states where APC is running government,
So you're saying in essence, sir, sorry to cut in, you're saying in essence that even if Tinubu is given the privilege of becoming a president, there is nothing to work on. There's nothing.
What you are saying from your responses is Tinubu is coming to run an individual show.
I don't think so, because the Tinubu's document is supposed to be a better elaboration of the party manifesto. Is there really something fundamentally different from Tinubu's manifesto compared to that of the party?
Have you seen the manifesto of the party?
Yes.
Where is it?
It's on INEC's website. And the Tinubu renewed hope has been widely circulated as well. With 15 agenda.
He has certain beliefs that he thinks Nigerians deserve, and that is what he's coming to, implement.
A one-man show.
That is the truth.
A one-man show.
Well, you can call it anything. You can choose to call it.
So he doesn't even believe in the platform on which he is seeking for presidency. He does not believe in the platform upon which he is seeking for presidency.
He wants to distance himself.
He wants to distance himself from the party,
from the government that he helped put in place.
The flag bearer of the political
what
party.
should interest you, guys, if you are really patriotic, is to know the contents of it and how relevant and beneficial it will be to Nigerian government. Not talking of whether, who made it, whether the party has adopted it or not, whether the party is happy with it or not. You are not members of our party, and you have not seen any member of the party with an eyebrow.
All right, let me just chip this in before we open the phone lines. I just want to ask, you actually worked as a cabinet member under this government.
Yes.
And now, would you say that this government has failed from your utterances, because you've been talking about
in what way? In which field has it failed?
We've been talking about
poverty.
We've been talking about corruption.
Yeah.
And now, as a matter of fact, you also said what Tinubu is actually planning. It's an individualistic thing.
To castigate. The Yorubas have this adage. They say, I've been in government for almost 4 years, and I know that the achievements of this government in several areas.
Which areas are those areas?
More than that of the previous governments under this democracy combined together.
With
and so why then?
The level of exchange rates we have.
With the poverty level,
with
inflation.
Don't speak on one issue and you are discussing it as if it is the only thing that the government is doing.
Senior, if you believe,
I am happy Professor is there. Any of your scholars, even those who come out with first class, have anybody scored 100%?
Senior.
Is that a basis for comparison? We're talking about governance.
Somebody scored only 60%, so he has not passed.
No,
who gave the Buhari government 60%?
No, if you say that the APC government has performed very well, why is Bola Tinubu appearing to distance himself
from
that party and that government?
Absolutely.
Bringing up a manifesto, bringing up an individual manifesto rather than a party manifesto.
In what way is he distancing himself?
You said you said that he brought a personal manifesto and he is not working on
that is the practice
party
in politics. If you don't know, you political theorists, you need to talk to us and you need to listen to us. I am telling you that even in the states, every governor has its own separate manifesto.
Which they have their programs, which is inspired by the party's manifesto.
Exactly.
And I also think that the difference is...
They will not be manifesto, they will just be programs that we intend, and it will be built on that manifesto.
You go to court every now and then. Even on cases you win on all grounds. For the professor, has anybody scored 100%?
So this government is trying error. Is that what you've been...
He has not scored 100%. He has not passed. I think we should make progress.
What percentage, what score will you give this government then?
It has scored at least 70%. And let me say, you may wish to...
So it scores an A, according to Nigerian standard. It's a first-class government.
You see, the bottom line. Elections are coming. Nigerians will judge us by the performance of the previous government and by the anticipated, belief in the Tinubu presidency. And then we'll be able to talk again. I am in government. I know what government has done. And I know that in comparative terms, this government has done better. You all were in Nigeria. Let's take just Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. For more than 10 years, the road was abandoned. You now have a Buhari government which has come and is nearing completion on the road, and you are not commending him.
Because you said 70%. Sorry, sir. Because you said 70%.
Have you
sorry,
barrister.
Because you said 70%.
Have you had the place of commending him on the thing that benefit Nigerians?
It is social responsibility to do that.
You don't see any good thing in that.
It is the civic responsibility.
In your individual lives and professions.
Now, let me take you up on the 70%.
Up to 90%. 100%.
Sorry, Mr. Shitu, can I take you on the 70%? If Buhari government has indeed scored 70%, why is it taking Tinubu this rigorous step to go through all the states and going through to go and campaign? If at all, the Buhari government has 70%, why does it need to campaign?
If you choose to bastardize Tinubu, I am sure you are not speaking for Nigeria. You are speaking for yourselves.
I'm talking about the Buhari government here. I'm speaking about the platform. It's not a choice of bastardizing. We are actually talking on content.
You are just speaking on, microscopic issues, and you are not.
Okay, Lanet Senior.
That he has done well.
Lanet Senior. Okay, let me speak on this one that he has done well. Let me
I'm
speak.
surprised.
Let me speak.
Professor.
No, let me.
Professor. You know we have been in the trenches together with you.
That's right. Yes, we are.
So you have not seen anything good in the Buhari administration.
No, let me ask you.
No, I've not said that I didn't see anything good with the Buhari administration. Because that's why I asked you.
I think that's a question Nigerians will have.
Yes, what is the score?
Nigerians
If I didn't think he has achieved anything, I won't be asking for the score.
He has not achieved anything.
Lanet Senior, let me ask you this question on it. I will never deny, the good things, that Buhari's administration did. But let me take it from the one you mentioned, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Of what use is that wonderful road constructed by the government of Buhari when the people cannot safely drive on it, given the threat, the security threats?
In other words, it is not necessary for the road to have been done because of kidnapping. That's your conclusion.
Because the government is responsible for securing the entire nation, and
so
now who will use the road when kidnappers will not allow Nigerians drive on it?
Professor, look, the thing to be faithful and to remain respected is to at least acknowledge the good things, the successes of the government, not to engage in wholesale condemnation.
That's right.
If you are now saying because of kidnapping, there's no point building the Lagos-Ibadan road. Is it Buhari asking the kidnappers to go and start kidnapping? Is that what you are saying?
I agree with you, Barrister. It's really, there are two different issues. I agree. There are two different issues.
Would they have given notice to government that they are coming to
but it is the duty of government to secure steps. It is the duty of government to secure its infrastructure.
Who goes to people's house? It is the fault of the government that the thief is going to people's house.
If the government fails to provide security,
it's the fault of the government to that people are kidnapping.
Barrister, I guess we just have to open the phone lines before we have to leave.
Yes. I am prepared.
All right.
I'm prepared.
Sorry, sir. Let's just take the views of the people. Okay, the numbers are 070
I am prepared.
All right, we have a caller here. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. What's the name and where are you calling us
from? Good morning, ma. Is that 94.9?
Yes, 32 FM.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, sir. The panel of discussants. Yeah. Please, I want to contribute to the ongoing program.
Okay, please go ahead.
So, like what I would love to say, we in Nigeria, the population we are having presently, we are talking about 250 million. Now, if we are talking about poverty can be compared to the kind of the life people are living in the certain given country. That is the way they are feeding, the way they are clothing, the house and shelter. But now, according to a friend, he gave a statistic that the 250 million people, if we can have the 50 million top engaging agricultural work, that these 250 million, they will be able to be providing food for the remaining 200 million. But in our own case, especially in the Southwest, none of this is happening. And we are shouting that the country is impoverished. How are we going to come out of this? Is that the constitution needs to be changed. If it is because of the large population or which a certain president is controlling, which I don't believe that it is appropriate for a man in Abuja sitting down controlling north, south, west, east, and central, and other tribes and regions that are marked together called Nigeria. I don't think this thing can survive. We will be crying till eternity of this poverty or something. So why can't we divide the country into 3 places? Or we have 6 geopolitical zones. What am I saying is that a president will be, which will be the central president, and we have 6 vice presidents. We should be an overseer working along with this president, giving updates, what is happening in each region to the president that at the center. Because Jonathan is a nice president.
Please round up.
The population is too large for a man to control as a president. Yeah. So the constitution needs to be revisited
so that we can split. We are not talking that unity is not good, but in a situation of this, our own Nigeria, no, a president can. Everybody.
No, but we have to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling in.
You did not ask Leonard Senior any question.
Exactly.
You were just making your comments, but which is welcome all the same.
All right,
thank you very much.
Yes, the numbers to call again are 070-550-949 and of course 080-97-949, and we still have Mr. Barashitu standing online for your questions. And of course, once you call in, just make it straight, make it as simple as possible and go straight to your questions. All right, before we take that, I guess we have to also pay some bills, and we'll be right back shortly.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Miss Polly has a baby who was sick, sick, sick. She phones to the doctor to be quick, quick, quick. The doctor came running with a Rexall drop, and he knocked on the door with a rat-a-tat-tat.
Rexall paracetamol drop is good for the treatment of feverish conditions in babies. Rexall paracetamol drop has a fruity taste, and it is mild on the child's digestive system.
Then the baby was happy and started to play.
Rexall paracetamol, also available as tablets and suppositories for adults and syrup for children. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor. Rexall paracetamol, another quality product from Daily Need Industries.
Hello, alábàágbé mi. Mo ní kí wá bẹ̀yìn wò ni. Ìyá Bíọ́lá, àlàáfíà la wà. Ẹ ṣeun. Mo kọ yín kọ̀. Wọ́n wà. Ẹ̀yin náà ńkọ́? Kódà ìyá mi lábúlé gan wà lálàáfíà. Ìyá Bíọ́lá, ṣé kò sí? Mẹ́wòó. Ìtasọ́sọ́ jọ̀lọ́ fún yín ò jẹ́ rí mú mi o. Ni mo bá ní wá fọwọ́ ara mi tún ara mi ṣe.
Ẹ wọlé wá jẹ́wọ́ jàre.
Àgbé ìyẹ̀fun ìsẹ̀bẹ̀ ọ̀ngá jọ̀lọ́ọ̀fù tuntun dé o. Ohun ìsẹ̀bẹ̀ tó ń fúnrẹ́sì jọ̀lọ́ọ̀fù yín lójúlówó adùn àti ìtasọ́sọ́ jọ̀lọ́ọ̀fù tí ò ṣeé kọ̀ sílẹ̀.
Onga, Mama's helping hand.
Are you ready?
When we look at the horizon, we see our followers. And as we keep looking, we are inspired to keep moving. To you all, we say thank you. For our followers on Facebook, you are the best. To those on Twitter and Instagram, we love you. And to our YouTube subscribers, we throw you salute. For those who are yet to join us on the flight, we know you are waiting. So catch us live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 32FM949 Ibadan. And to subscribe to our YouTube channel, it is at 32FM949 Ibadan. You are the real heroes. Once again, we say thank you.
32 FM 94.9. 32 FM 94.9.
Safa pelisizo simnyama.
All right, you're welcome back. You're still on to the podium, 32 FM 94.9. My name is Gbolabo, Famous School. And of course, we still have our finalist in the studio, and Mr. Barashitu is still here. All right, let's take this call. I guess we have a caller here. Hello, good morning. Good morning, please. Yes, please. What's the name and where are you calling us from?
Wally from Bogan.
All right, please go ahead.
I appreciate the guest has come to the station. Now, there are issue bothering for answer that among the promises made earlier on in 2015, that this government promised the masses in terms of employment, 5,000 for unemployed graduates, refinery, and all this blah, 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 blah. None of this program were fulfilled. And I don't know the parameter by which the 70% rating was made by our honorable landed person. No, and I don't know, we don't need to deceive ourselves. This government, when we when it is something very important, it is a kind of good character to own up for certain deficiency, and people will believe you. But when you are making when you are not making progress, and you are telling people you are making progress, which means you will not make progress. So that's why we don't believe in this as what you are the presidency. Because
thank you so much, Wale, for actually asking that. Of course, Mr. Shitu, you heard what he said. He said he doesn't believe in
Can I make a comment?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
If you allow me, I'm in Ibadan now.
Okay, great.
When I get back to Abuja, I will give Bola, I'll commit to give you a 500-page detailed achievements of the government in the first term, not the second term, first term alone. So when I give you that, you would then have to arrange another interview and invite all our guests and others who may be interested to challenge. The achievements of the government are too numerous to say, and I was not given notice of this. You would agree with me that you didn't really give me notice as to what we're coming to.
You never expected this to happen, right?
I am surprised. So, and you know, as I'm talking now, you don't expect me to be, I'm not the Minister of Information.
That's right.
And I'm not here speaking on behalf of the government. I don't have that authority there. So I've just been able to tell, and I am happy my lawyer friend and my professor will bear witness that I will not tell lies.
Oh, yes.
I will not tell lies.
Yes.
So if the government, in the areas that the government has succeeded, I will continue to expound them. In the areas, I have my reservations, for instance, the fact that the 4 refineries we promised, none of it has come on stream yet. And I'm particularly also surprised that apart from the government refineries, even the private people who were given licenses, about 12 of them, none of them has been able, over the last 4 years, none has been able to. So I don't know what are the technical issues, which, so I think if we must be fair to government, we should contact the Minister of Information to give us all the facts. Merely coming on such an interview where people, the impression is given that the purpose of the interview is just to castigate government and give the impression that it has not done anything over the last 7 years, I think is most unfair. In any case, I consider the coming election as, a thing where Nigerians will be able to decide whether they still have confidence in the Buhari administration or the APC administration or not. But I can assure you, my brothers on the panel and the interviewer, that I will not tell lies. In the areas that government has done well, I would sing their praises to high heaven. Where they have not succeeded adequately, again, I will say that. And I'm happy that I gave the analogy of a professor who will give somebody first class, despite the fact that that person has just scored 100%, or a lawyer who would try to squeeze a case and, barely convince the court, and still believe that it is doing well. So nobody is perfect. Neither governments nor individuals are perfect. But I believe, at least in the areas that we can see, federal roads.
All right, we actually got all of that. Let's see if we could take more calls. You talked about road.
Agriculture, there's no doubting about.
All right, we have a caller. Sorry for cutting you short, sir.
So when next
we have a caller waiting, sir. Hello, good morning, please.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
I'm Jeremy.
All right, please go ahead with your question.
Hello?
Yes?
Yes, please go ahead with your question.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's the name or where you're calling us from? Please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Ayuba.
All right, where are you calling from, Ayuba? You can just go straight to your question.
Yeah, from Harry.
All right, please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask a question.
Go on.
Assuming that nobody can defend FCC without him lying.
All right, we wouldn't want to take any harsh words here. Let's be careful
with
the choice of language.
Let me say this. Let me say this for that last caller. Bayo Shitu is a man who has a track record, and in his role as a minister, he has an unblemished record. Yes, he could say one or two things about government as he sees it, but please let us avoid using
the kind of language.
That kind of language.
Yeah, because
he is a man of integrity. I can vouch for him. He is my learned senior.
All right, let's take this. Hello, good morning, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my brothers.
Hello, good morning. Do we have a caller here? All right. Okay, Barrister Yomi, I guess you wanted to ask a question.
Yes, learned senior, just before you go, I want to ask your opinion on this self-determination agitations around the country. What's your view concerning it?
Well, I believe in one Nigeria. I believe in a united Nigeria. Look, I'm happy I'm a Yoruba man. And I know that Yorubas are the most enterprising, people in this country. If you are very enterprising, common sense dictates that you prefer a bigger market, a larger market than a smaller market. Today, we have a lot of industries in Lagos. If Nigeria becomes, if we have, for instance, the so-called Yoruba nation, with all the industries, where would the market be? You start going to look for new market. You now start to contend with custom, duties, with immigration, with all kinds of, complexities. A man in a place like a small town, for instance, a village, selling akara, for instance, you can't compare the person with somebody selling akara in Ibadan. So, what does it call? We have Yorubas all over the country as mechanics, as drivers, as all kinds of people. My family in Zaria, there are more than 100 people who are members of my family. If you now have to have a Yoruba nation, excise it from the rest of Nigeria, complexities will arise as to whether those people remain citizens of Nigeria or they are foreigners. We don't have anywhere to put them. So I don't think we need to, waste our time on, divisiveness. What is important, these kind of arguments over how to ensure that our leaders improve. And Nigeria's problem is not about leaders alone.
All right, our time is fast spent, Mr. Shitu. I'm sorry to cut you off, but then let's take this call before we actually round up this conversation. Hello, good morning. All right, hello, good morning. Do we have a caller here? Hello, good morning. All right, I guess there are a number of people who want to ask questions, but along the line, they called and discussed.
We definitely will still have...
yes, because of the time. Okay, all right, let's take this. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, my sister.
Good morning, please. What's the name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Mr. Gbolabo, calling from Lebanon.
All right, please go straight to your question.
So there's one more thing that I need to add. We always be discussing the federal government. But we haven't been discussing about the state government. Even the local government that is very most critical, very important, has been abandoned. Nobody discusses about that one, but don't only the federal government. The local government is very close to the grassroots. Has been captured by the state government all over Nigeria. So something needs to be done very fast.
All right, thank you so much. I guess that will be a topic for another day. We're actually looking at the federal structure.
Definitely bring people to
Should I quickly make a comment on the last speaker?
All right, let's take this call. Hello, good
morning.
Good morning,
in terms of local governments, in most states, local governments have been killed.
Mr. Shitu, we have a caller.
Deliberately, I use the word kill. You find a situation where the
Hello.
and the governor will give them only 10 million.
We have a caller waiting.
Okay. If it's happening in your state, nobody talks about it. And you are talking about some people are not doing this and that and that. So I think the concentration, I challenge this station, your station, to have a talk about the performance of local governments and the